In 2023, Japan finds itself at a crossroads. Once the world's second-largest economy, it has since been surpassed by China and is projected to be overtaken by Germany as the world's third-largest economy. Despite decades of deflation and stagnant growth, there are signs that Japan's economy may be bouncing back. In the second quarter of 2023, Japan's economy grew much faster than expected, with an annualized growth rate of 6%. This was the fastest expansion since the final quarter of 2020. However, this growth has been met with skepticism. Some experts argue that it's merely a temporary rebound from the pandemic, while others believe it's a sign of a more sustainable recovery. So, what's really going on? Can Japan truly revive its economic growth, or is this just another false dawn? In this video, we'll explore the history, the current state, and the future prospects of Japan's economy. We'll examine the challenges it faces, the opportunities it could seize, and what experts are saying about its prospects. So, stay tuned as we unravel the economic enigma that is Japan. The economic history of Japan is one of the most studied. It's a tale of spectacular social and economic growth, especially after the Meiji Restoration in the 1800s. Japan became the first non-Western great power and expanded steadily until its defeat in the Second World War. The foundation of Edo in 1603 marked the beginning of Japan's economic developments. The Meiji Restoration in 1868 was another significant milestone, marking the beginning of industrialization. However, after World War II, Japan faced economic prostration. The American occupation and subsequent conservative governments led to a controlled economy in the 1930s. Despite these challenges, Japan managed to recover from devastation and become the world's second-largest economy, behind the United States. From 2010 to 2022, it was behind China as well, and from 2023, it was behind Germany. During the post-war period, Japan experienced an economic miracle, followed by an asset price bubble in the late 1980s. However, the burst of this bubble led to a prolonged period of economic stagnation known as the lost decades. Today, Japan's economy is the third largest in the world, as measured by GDP. It has a market economy that grew extraordinarily quickly for several decades after World War II. However, during the 1990s, Japan's economy entered a decades-long period of stagnation, with its growth rate much lower than that of other industrialized countries. Let's take a closer look at the current state of Japan's economy. As of 2023, Japan's real GDP finally overtook its pre-pandemic peak. In the second quarter of 2023, the economy grew by a sizable 1.2% compared to the first quarter. This growth was largely due to the external sector, with a weakening yen supporting export growth and pushing imports lower. However, despite this growth, Japan's nominal GDP is set to be around $4.23 trillion in 2023, down 0.2% from the previous year. This has led to Japan being surpassed by Germany as the world's third-largest economy. Domestic demand remains sluggish and is plagued by relatively high inflation. For example, real household spending fell 1.4% from a year earlier in August, as inflation erodes purchasing power. In terms of projections, Japan's real GDP is projected to grow by 1.3% in 2023 and 1.1% in 2024, mainly driven by domestic demand. Government support to help households cope with the energy price shock and increase defense spending will boost consumption and investment. However, it's important to note that these numbers are subject to change as new data becomes available and as the global economic landscape continues to evolve. Japan's economy faces several challenges in 2023. One of the most significant is the country's high level of debt. Japan has one of the highest public debt to GDP ratios in the world. This high level of debt could limit the government's ability to stimulate the economy and could pose a risk to financial stability. Another major challenge is inflation. In 2023, inflation in Japan has been running above the Bank of Japan's 2% target. While some inflation can be healthy for an economy, too much can erode purchasing power and lead to economic instability. the Bank of Japan has so far maintained its highly accommodative monetary policy stance, but inflationary pressures may require modest tightening. Japan also faces demographic challenges. The country has one of the oldest populations in the world, which could put pressure on social security systems and limit economic growth potential. Finally, Japan's economy is heavily dependent on exports. A slowdown in global economic growth or trade disruptions could therefore have a significant impact on Japan's economy. These challenges are not insurmountable, but they do require careful management and policy responses. Despite the challenges, Japan has several opportunities that could help revive its economic growth. One of the key drivers of Japan's economic recovery in 2023 is the materialization of pent-up consumer demand. As pandemic-related restrictions have been fully unwound, consumers are starting to spend more. This trend is expected to continue and contribute to modest economic growth in the near term. The Bank of Japan has maintained its highly accommodative monetary policy stance. This policy is expected to continue supporting economic growth, despite inflationary pressures. Wages in Japan are expected to accelerate in 2023, which could boost consumer spending and help drive economic growth. Japan is a global leader in technology and innovation. Technological advancements could provide opportunities for economic growth by creating new industries and jobs. Changes in government policy could also provide opportunities for economic growth. For example, policies aimed at addressing demographic challenges or stimulating domestic demand could help boost the economy. These opportunities present a potential path for Japan to revive its economic growth. However, realizing these opportunities will require careful management and policy responses. Let's now turn our attention to some case studies of countries that have faced similar economic challenges and how they have navigated their way through them. The United States faced a severe economic downturn during the Great Recession of 2008 to 2009. However, through a combination of fiscal stimulus, monetary easing, and structural reforms, the country was able to return to a path of steady economic growth. This recovery was not without its challenges, including high levels of public debt and income inequality. However, the US experience shows that with the right policies and economic management, it is possible to overcome these challenges. The European Union has also faced significant economic challenges in recent years, including the Eurozone crisis and the impact of Brexit. Despite these challenges, many EU countries have managed to return to growth through a combination of fiscal consolidation, structural reforms, and investment in innovation. However, like the US, the EU faces ongoing challenges, including high levels of public debt and demographic pressures. Many developing countries have also faced significant economic challenges, including high levels of public debt and vulnerability to external shocks. However, some of these countries have managed to achieve robust economic growth through a combination of sound macroeconomic management, investment in human capital, and structural reforms. These case studies provide valuable lessons for Japan as it seeks to revive its economic growth. While each country's situation is unique, there are common themes that emerge, including the importance of sound macroeconomic management, structural reforms, and investment in innovation. Now, let's delve into what experts are saying about Japan's economy in 2023. According to Deloitte Insights, Japan's economy continues to post economic gains, though the pace of growth remains relatively slow. A weak yen, high inflation, and rising unemployment might compel Japan to tighten monetary policy soon, although a full-blown recession remains unlikely. The Bank of Japan has continued to maintain its accommodative monetary policy stance despite high inflation. This has meant leaving its policy rate at around 0.1% and holding the yield for the 10-year government bond near 0%. However, recent comments from Governor Ueda suggest that any softening of its yield curve control will be put off until fall at the earliest. Inflation drivers do not appear to be waning either. Although energy prices have declined, other commodity prices continue to grow relatively quickly. Producer prices for manufactured goods were still up 4.5% from a year earlier in March. Plus, the yen has been depreciating again this year, as foreign central banks become more hawkish while the Bank of Japan remains dovish. On the other hand, Morgan Stanley projects a 1.1% GDP growth for 2023 and 2024, indicating robust nominal growth for Japan. These expert opinions provide valuable insights into the potential future trajectory of Japan's economy. However, it's important to note that these are just opinions, and the actual outcome may vary based on a multitude of factors. Overall, Japan's economy has made significant strides in recovering from the economic stagnation of the past few decades. However, it faces several challenges, including high public debt, inflation, and demographic pressures. Despite these challenges, there are several opportunities for Japan to revive its economic growth. These include pent-up consumer demand, accommodative monetary policy, wage growth, technological advancements, and potential policy changes. The experiences of other countries such as the United States and the European Union provide valuable lessons for Japan. While each country's situation is unique, common themes emerge, including the importance of sound macroeconomic management, structural reforms, and investment in innovation. Experts have differing opinions on the future trajectory of Japan's economy. Some are optimistic about its prospects, while others are more cautious. However, all agree that careful management and policy responses will be crucial in determining the future path of Japan's economy. As we move forward into 2023 and beyond, it will be interesting to see how Japan navigates these challenges and opportunities. Will it be able to revive its economic growth, or will it continue on a path of decline? Only time will tell.